All right. Oh, wow, thank you. Thank you. I'm not sure if I should keep my glasses on or off. It's kind of debated. So, does everybody have an agenda? Basically, you're going to see it up here. So we want to be done by 5 o'clock. So let's start. I want to thank everybody for coming out. Like, I can't even tell you how amazing this season has been. It's the 10th year. I don't even think I've put 10th year stuff on here, but if anybody was there, you know how amazing. I mean, like 10 years for a club to be going strong like this. It's a lot, and I just want to say that I'm just so grateful for all of you. Some of you ladies who've been here over the last couple of years and continue to be members, and all the new members that are here and have enjoyed themselves this summer. So I hope through this AGM, through your questionnaire, that we can bring some amazing new stuff for you next year. We're super excited, and thank you a lot for your feedback. That was greatly appreciated. I take that very seriously, and if it's not good for you guys, it's not good for us, right? And we want to make things as amazing every year for you guys. All right, so let's just start with thanking our sponsors, Eurosports, which has generously donated the coupons, I think, or somewhere around there, but for the Eurosports Strava Mileage Challenge. You can't wait till you guys hear about the stats that came out of there. Like, blow my mind. I'm telling you, you girls rode a lot this summer. Like, a lot. And it just gives me shivers, like, how much you guys did. So they gave about $500 towards, and that's the 3rd year in a row that they have, because we started this like 2-3 years ago. And so they generously give gift certificates. So we've now broken it up to one big one and then a bunch of small ones, because we've got lots of participants. So we need to spread it around. And then we have Logica Sports, which are the ones who take care of our jerseys. And I was just there on Thursday, and we went through, we just started looking at colors for next year. So we're trying to make it more bolder and, just a lot of blingy and flashy stuff. Girls. So we can find each other, right? And of course, I brought some samples over there. So if you want to try on the size, the style, that's not what it's going to look like. But the style, that's the sizing that we're going for. So if you want to have a jump start, because otherwise you have to go with the chart, and sometimes. But we are going to order a couple extras for next year, so for swapping out, but not a lot. So, and also we were talking about how can we best help you guys with extras. So what they have helmets, and those are the ones in the back. So ideally, if you have a helmet that's over 3 years old and over 5, you should be getting yourself a new helmet. So we got some great deals, so that's why the sizing is back there. Eurosports is going to be carrying them. So if you order, you'll have till Friday to place an order. If it's in stock, it'll come to Eurosports. You can pick it up there. If it's not in stock right now, it's not going to come until February. Okay, so I have no idea how much is in stock, but that's the way those are going to roll. And then they have shoes. So we haven't talked about shoes, but they have Diodore. I don't know if anybody wears Diodore road shoes, but that's the brand they have. And next we have BDH Bicyclette de Hud. So they did all of our mountain bike clinics along with Mike. And we're not sure what's happening next year, so stay tuned to that. But we want to thank them as a sponsor. And then Chelsea Pub. So Manuela has always given us lots of good gift certificates for Chelsea Pub and Scotty's, and we all know where those are located.
It's good food.
And then there's Isogenics, so quite a few of you have tried and tasted the electrolytes, the bars, shakes, so those are always amazing for, you know, as athletes and just everyday nutrition, Isogenics. So let's get down, get into the start of our AGM. So we haven't done one in like many years. I think about 5 maybe. So this is, we thought that, you know, now it's time to bring it back. We have a bigger, more involved community within our group. So so the breakdown of the membership, and I'm not going to get to big stats, but we had 125 this year, and 57 opted in as volunteers. We had 82 participants in the Strava Challenge, which was,
wow.
Yeah, wow. So that's why you guys rode, and everybody like pretty much logged their stuff. So, and then 42, I believe it was 42 participants in the the anniversary challenge. So that was in July. So I just have to say, July, we rode about 30,000 kilometers.
Oh.
July. Motivation. Like, isn't that amazing? Like, okay, so you can imagine what the rest of them.
How far is that? Is that like from riding to Manitoba? Like how far is that?
30,000? Okay.
So
Well,
I just calculated because the stats, because I heard them from Jean earlier.
yeah, I know the stats.
We did about 20 times across Canada for the whole season.
For the whole
So
season.
with the stats and numbers.
Yeah. So we drove like in August. We went away. We drove 11,000 kilometers. That was like from here to Calgary and back. So 11,000 one car. I'm paying for it now. So I wish I was just like. So okay. So let's start with the Monday survey. So we had about 36 people who filled that out and gave us their feedback. And so what we've discussed, and we've already had like a meeting on this, and so what people were saying was they would like to see the skills posted in advance. And I've done this for a specific reason not to. I think people know that, because if I put something on there you don't like, you're not going to show up. So that is the specific reason why it has never been posted. You just show up on Monday and you get what you get. So, but a lot of people want to know, even in the club, they want to know what's going on. They want the breakdown of the focus. I'm like, okay, we'll try it next year. You don't show up. That's all. I tried it, you didn't show up, you're just going to have to come out and find out what's going on. So yeah, so then posting on what we're going to do and a little bit of the focus. This also means that we need a couple more coaches. So like that means 4 coaches on hand. So 2 beginner novice and 2 the intermediate advanced. So we're going to have to bring in more coaches for that. And people ask for rotation of coaches, which is a great idea. I didn't even think of that. Awesome. We're going to do that. We're going to focus. We're going to put up what's happening on a monthly basis and a little bit of the focus. Now, a lot of people ask, you know, like, hills were too hard for this group and that group, and like we really like, you know, sometimes you just have to work with what's there. Like we can't do something individual for everybody that shows up. Okay, so some of these things, you know, we'll do what we can, and we'll work with everybody that shows up, and we accommodate as much as we can. So that being said, like, you know, if you show up and find something challenging, then we'll try and accommodate. But we have only so much terrain, right? And you can only do so much with what we have. So sometimes you might end up working a little harder, and sometimes you might not get as much of a workout as you think, but we're doing as much as we can for the skills. So it's basically for you to take away what we're giving you, okay? And that's the focus, is taking it, applying it in your group rides. Okay, so that was pretty much what we got out of the Monday Skills survey. Now, the club survey, and Jean, she's going to talk on that. All the breakdown, and we had, you want to talk from there, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had 50 people fill out the survey, probably, which is about, well, not quite a third, a little more than a third of the club. And those that filled out the survey know what the questions were. So first of all, the first question was about participation in the group rides, and it turns out that of those that completed the survey, 95% participated in most of the rides. Okay, so, and we had 5% that didn't, and we asked them to say why they hadn't. That meant a few people. There were lots of reasons. A couple thought the rides were too early, it didn't fit with their schedule. Some had things come up over the summer that were unexpected and they couldn't benefit from the rides. So, but that's a pretty good number, 95. So, and if participation, it turns out we asked what level people participated in. Of the 50 people that responded, most were concentrated in the novice and intermediate categories, the vast majority, followed by the beginner, and then a few advanced said that they participated in them. The Saturday ride was the most popular option, by far, by far. But surprisingly, we had great attendance on the Friday ride, those of you that came on the Friday rides, and on the Sunday rides. It increased. We just started the Sunday ride option last year, and we had very few riders, very little uptake on that. But this year we had a lot. So that was good to know as well. So the Saturday was the big option. And asking what people liked about the group ride program. And I know Jean's going to talk about some things, but this is sort of the more affective side. The number one thing that people liked about the group ride program was the camaraderie, the companionship, riding with other women at their levels. That was the overwhelming majority of people cited that. The second reason was the rides. They thought the rides were interesting, they were new to them, the routes were varied. People said that was a good option. The third most popular thing that people cited was they enjoyed the group ride leaders. They thought they were organized and experienced and knowledgeable. So that's a good thing. And then another reason people came on the group rides because they wanted a challenge and they wanted to be motivated. First motivated to get out on their bike, and then challenged once they got there. So, and then there were a couple of other people who said things like they learned new skills. It was an opportunity for their own self-care and their own wellness, and they liked the supportive environment. So that was what they said. People had suggestions for improving the group rides. Some of it was around communication. People wanted to know up front the average speed, the distance, what the intensity of the ride would be. So they wanted to know about the terrain and all of that so that they could make a choice, especially on Saturdays, about the group ride. Some people cited time. They wanted a bit of flexibility in start times in cases of heat, or just to give a variety of different start times. Some people said time was a factor for them and they wanted it limited to 3 hours, which gets harder during the season because we do increase the distances. So they said, a couple people said they wanted to make absolutely certain when we posted a ride that we were really, really clear about where the start location was. We had a few incidents this summer where people ended up somewhere that wasn't where we actually started. And that was just unfortunate. It was just, in one case, it was a person that just moved to Ottawa and didn't really know the city very well. So that was. In terms of the group ride leaders, people said we should encourage more people to step up to be group ride leaders. And I think Jean would probably agree with that. I certainly agree with that too. They wanted group ride leaders to stick to the posted average speed for the ride. A suggestion was that for any group over 7, there'd be a kind of a sweep person. We doubled up on the beginner rides this year with 2 leaders, and I think that was really helpful because it helped us address the range. But in a large group, sometimes even in an office or an intermediate group, there's, there are people that are behind, and so to assign a sweep. To divide up larger groups, we had some very large rides this year, like 15, 16, 18. And I think sometimes just naturally they divided up. But again, to keep that in mind so that we, might, when we see that the sign up is 15 or 16, that we have a person that could step up to co-lead, if you like, a second group. So the other thing that came up was that the beginners would like another name for beginners. Especially as the season goes on, because many of them pointed out, and it's true, that they're not beginner riders, they are beginners to group riding. And so they were just wondering, because as the season goes on, it comes to be August, especially if they've been coming out regularly, even though they're riding at the beginner speed and enjoying that distance, they wanted to be called something else besides beginners. So something to think about. If anybody's got a creative idea for that, let me know.
Fresh to seasoned. Fresh to seasoned.
That's
fresh
to seasoned. And then the other thing that was, and I think this came from the beginner group as well, but I think it applies to all groups, was the feeling that I quoted one of our members, she said, in terms of encouraging people to ride or move up to the next level, not a heavy hand, but a gentle touch. In other words, recognizing that some people just come out to ride and enjoy themselves, and they may improve within a certain skill, but their goal is not necessarily to move through all the levels, beginner, novice, and so on. On the other hand, on the flip side of that, there were a couple of comments about encouraging more competitive riders and more fit and capable riders, encouraging them in many ways to move to the next level. Okay, so that we're not all bunched up in one level. So that was interesting as well. There was a question about the Monday night skills, and Sylvie's spoken to it. There was still one question on the survey. 91% of the people that responded said that they liked it. They liked having the 2 locations this year. They liked receiving the training schedule in advance in August. Some suggestions that came out, somebody suggested alternating locations for all levels. Not just coaches, but locations too. Okay. Because Aston is often difficult for people to get to in rush hour. And there were a whole variety of things, a suggestion that if the group is large, up at Aston, that it be divided into intermediate riders and advanced riders, and Sylvie's spoken to that about the coaching. We asked about club socials. We had 25% of members that went to both our socials, the April introductory social and the 10th anniversary social. We asked why people didn't come, and there were lots of reasons. Going back to the original when people joined, and then other things came up in their lives, and they just couldn't commit to the club. People said they just didn't have time to come to the socials. They had time to ride, but not necessarily come to the socials. But it goes back to the same thing when we asked what they liked about the socials. It's the conversation, the camaraderie, and so on. That's one of the things several people actually put about the group rides, that one of the best parts for them was the coffee stops. So you can see that there's a bit of a theme and a pattern, and that is that people are appreciating the social aspects of it. In terms of suggestions, some people suggested more socials throughout the summer. Several people suggested a larger venue for the April social because we were pretty proud of it. You can't anticipate that, but maybe we can.
We will have a bigger, because we were actually, when I told him how many people were coming, he's like, oh my God, that's way beyond above code.
Yeah, so it's hard to anticipate. So 95% of the people that responded used the webpage. They used Facebook to communicate. They said 100% said there was enough communication. 25% volunteered for club events. So that's something you need to think about. 91% said they received good value for their membership, and 80% said that they were planning on joining next year. Okay? Which means, that's great, yeah, that's great, but that means we had 20% that are considering not joining, and they gave lots of reasons. Some said they just didn't feel they got their value this summer. for personal reasons, not for anything that the club did or didn't do. A couple people thought it was too expensive. And one or two people said that they felt like the rides, the commitment on the weekend of the rides, they were too long for what they had anticipated, right? So these are things, these are not necessarily things that we need to change, but maybe things that we need to really be clearly communicating about before people join in April, that the ride is going to be a minimum of 3 hours or whatever, okay? So people expressed an interest in day-long cycle tours in the region. Overnight cycle tours, about 58% said they would be interested. Additional weekday evening group rides. Advanced bike maintenance, first aid, and so on. Online live demonstrations about bike maintenance. Somebody suggested that, and I think one of the things that we talked about at our little exec meeting was that somebody made a really good suggestion, and that was that there be a Facebook Live before you go to the bike maintenance, where you have to name the parts of your bike. They show you how to name the parts of your bike, and get the back wheel off before you go to bike maintenance. And even if you turn up at the bike maintenance with your wheel off, so that's an interesting thought, and then it could be expanded to other bike maintenance issues. You know, how to put your chain back on. It could just be Facebook rather than having to go. So when we asked for general suggestions for improvement, we had a few suggestions about the Monday night skills, and Sylvie's already addressed those, adding more coaches, breaking the groups up and so on. We had a lot of suggestions about the group ride, recruiting more group ride leaders, initial training of group ride leaders about roles and responsibilities. If we want to recruit ride leaders, we want them to be really clear and help them, support them in what their role and responsibility is. I talked about all the rest of them. Sometimes better communication, sometimes information was last minute, people felt. In terms of membership, people said more volunteer opportunities for new members, and those opportunities communicated well in advance, so that if you did check off the volunteer box, you had lots of opportunity, even if you were taking vacation or whatever. If the club has a surplus, lower the membership fees or don't include a jersey. That was one suggestion. Maybe think about how to best serve the needs of members to ensure that our expectations are met, that they feel included and supported, and so that they come back every year. Because retention is something that an organization like this, we really need to think about. Generally things, prior to the, I've talked about that, overnight trips. Somebody suggested, and it's an interesting thought, additional or different challenges for members who do not have the time to ride lots of extra kilometers. So I think there are people feeling that they would have liked to participate in the July challenge, but they just, at that time, with their personal family lives and other commitments, didn't have time. So what other things could we think about that would be not just about sheer number of kilometers, but about other things?
Maybe the keynotes we do hill climbs in a time period.
Yeah.
Not necessarily me.
If you have any ideas about how to enact some of those suggestions, we're always open to them.
Well, yeah. Linda did start the Thursday ride.
Yes, and the Thursday ride's on here. Yeah.
Okay. Because one of the questions was, one of the suggestions was more weekday rides.
Yes.
And
so the Thursday ride was. So there was the Saturday ride was most popular, then Friday, then Sunday, then Thursday. But the suggestion was made, have a Thursday ride right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Because I think that was the issue.
Really,
Right?
Tuesday and Wednesday are the only days.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, and
That's
actually,
pretty good.
we were just saying that we had a fair amount of participants, because the Thursday, right, because we talked about that, it was a kind of add-on.
Yeah.
And really for July and August, that we had really said that it would be for July and August. But I suspect that we had 7 or 8 Thursday rides, and between 6 and 8. That was kind of the thing. And it was, and what we did there was about 30 kilometers
Yeah.
in the evening. And there was a couple times where there were a lot of people, but we sometimes had 7 or 8.
Yeah, so people requested that they know the weeknight at the beginning of the season, because then you can kind of plan your other activities accordingly. That was the only suggestion. So yeah, people did cite that they had done the Thursday ride.
Just speaks to needing more group ride leaders.
Yes,
Volunteer though.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as to why people didn't volunteer to lead group rides, it's not, it's not unusual. Many people said it was their first year in the club and they felt they didn't have the experience, which is totally legit. A number of people said they just didn't have time. All they have time for is the time to do their ride for their own self-care, and they don't have time right now in their busy lives, so we have to respect that too. But certainly, yeah. Anyway, those are results of.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
I have a question about leading group rides. Are you guys generally looking for people who are experienced, or are you okay with, for example, newbies? Because for me, because it's my first year, I thought, okay, my first year, I kind of want to get comfortable with the concept of group rides, but it almost feels like you could have gotten away with teaching someone who's new, and I think that's what I got confused at first in the beginning of the summer, is that I wasn't sure if it was a good time to actually start learning all that stuff.
No, we're totally open to anybody who wants to group ride. Like, you don't have to be experienced, you don't have to be in the club for, a couple of years. We're always encouraging new people to come out and be those leaders. Like, in our advanced group, there's times when I can't lead, and I always ask one of the girls, I said, just pick your route that you're comfortable with, and you post it. And so I don't give the route, they decide it's something that they're comfortable with, and
So one of the suggestions was that early in the season, whoever's the group ride coordinator, we have an optional, evening ride or whatever, where we do a few routes with potential group ride leaders, people who have checked out that box. So you have a couple of rides, and you can identify this would be a reasonable beginner ride, this would be a reasonable novice ride, this would be. So that's a thought that we're thinking about. Like, and it all fits in under the box of recruiting group ride leaders.
yeah, and I think what we'll do, we didn't do it this year, but we did it last year, is we had like a learn to group ride clinic. And we'll bring that back again. We just didn't end up doing it, I don't know for what reason, but because there was a lot of meetings for group ride leaders and stuff, so it just got on the side.
I know that there was a ride up a level, so you could experiment.
Yes.
But if there was a experiment being a complete or a day, as ongoing recruitment. So there's just one day that's posted in advance. So if you're thinking about it, but you don't want to commit to the season, a person could just try it, and then maybe that person would be a group later in the summer. You try it without committing for.
We've had a couple
Yeah,
you're talking about a group leader, or just riding up into another group?
No, I'm talking about a day where you could volunteer to lead a ride.
Or be an assistant with
Be
them.
an assistant.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Do you want to break that down? But we had a couple ideas on, not about group ride leaders, I don't know if I want to bring this out now because we're going to surprise you next year, but on how to recruit down, I guess, to bring people up, because a lot of people, like say between the intermediate and advanced, there's a lot of girls in that intermediate group that could easily ride up with us, because we're not so what we're thinking, and don't be afraid, is, I know, that's right, we will just come down and recruit up. So you either come up and ride with us, or we'll come down and ride with you. So how do you want to do it? But the thing is that, don't be afraid of that. But there are a lot of girls who underestimate their capabilities just because they're afraid of what they might see. Like, we're not, we just ride a little bit faster, we have a little bit more skill, but the thing is that every group up has the same things. It's not just the advanced, like the novice is the same to the beginner. The intermediate is the same to the novice. So if we make everybody ride down and recruit up, it's not just going to be at the advanced level. Do you know what I mean? So So we just go down and we ride, and if some people say, oh, well, I can keep up with them, you know, I can ride up. It's not to be intimidating, it's just to say that, you know, there are some people who are at that level that are just afraid to go up, and if they come down and they can actually see, well, it's not that bad, like, they're not gonna like leave us in the dust, you know?
The thing is, when we first started the assessment of which level we were, I remember very vividly where there was this weird, unsure if I'm a novice or an intermediate, and I remember being told, oh, if you're really unsure, just go down.
Right. Yeah.
And then so it was really hard for me to get past, okay, I can be actually an intermediate, because actually I was dragged by my friend who was an intermediate, and say, you must
Well, I
go.
remember you.
Heather was came to me and said, no, just go to a freaking intermediate, this is ridiculous. Go to the intermediate. And so for me, just getting the idea that, okay, no, I'm not a novice, I'm an intermediate, and then, okay, maybe I should go to advanced. It was already just being told from the beginning of summer that maybe you should play it safe. Maybe
At the beginning, we always do that for everybody. Just play it safe, and if you find that that's a little too slow for you, then you're definitely not there. You're up.
Yeah, but I
So-
found the step to advance didn't seem really.
Yeah.
There is a
Well.
big difference between intermediate and advanced. Monthly is nicer together, so when it's on Saturdays, you're not sure if they're going to
Slingshots and such.
Yeah. So for me, it was more, okay, where's the start point? If it's too far, I'm not going.
And what's the speed?
So that's what I would say, sometimes it's not about skills, sometimes it's about the route.
Set a start point.
You know, just getting back to being a group, being a ride leader, and this was the first year that I did that, and I think that for me, some of it is I let go of the expectation that I somehow knew what I was doing, and it was just like, I'm just putting my name down so that the ride doesn't get canceled, and then, checking in to make sure everybody's there, and we start with who we finished. We almost lost Boy Ride, but we got her back, and on one of the rides, and then that was fine. I think for me though, the most difficult thing was figuring out the routes, right? And just not really understanding what route would a beginner, was a good route, and all that kind of stuff. And we were so helpful with all of that and all that sort of stuff. But that's one of my suggestions, was maybe we could map out some routes right at the beginning and
Yeah,
have them
there's
set.
a ton, like, geez, and I always say, if this is your first time, you just pick your favorite route, because you know it, and
Yeah.
you're confident on it, you know all the turns and everything, and you just do that. Like,
Yeah.
don't try and figure something out that you've never seen before, you don't even know where that part of the city is. Don't do it, just say, I like this route, this is the one I go on, this is the one.
But then
you're
you have to
riding.
know that route, and I guess what I'm saying is, so we have, I got lost when I traced the route, the first one I did, and I managed to get lost, and my sister went really well on
This is my
Saturday,
favorite
but
route
let's
that I
see
go
what
on.
happens. Well, I did like the route, but I did not play it, I hadn't played it, so I just.
So as a group leader, which I've done a little bit, I have no sense of direction. I get lost like that. As soon as I leave my house, I get lost. I sell real estate, and the best thing that's ever happened to me is a GPS. I have been everywhere in the city, everywhere, and I can still get lost when I go outside. So I think maybe it's don't be afraid.
I think it's letting go of the fear that we have that we're supposed to be so much more knowledgeable than everybody else in the group, and it really is like just sweep everybody up.
You're
with
not
you.
the only one who feels like that, who's like,
Well, exactly. So to the point where
but you have to pretend you know what you're doing, so we're gonna turn here, right?
Yeah, exactly. And everybody in the group helps you out, and make sure you don't turn. It's such a great. Everybody here is so great.
I was just going to add to that, just as part of learn to group ride or learn to lead, is that tech piece, because being the tech dummy, how to post on Facebook, and all you guys know how, but it was a learning curve for me, and Scrab and all of that stuff. So I learned the tech part.
Yeah, we were gonna have a like a social media one-on-one piece, because we do make everybody get on Facebook now. Like, there's no more emails besides like everything outside that you need to know that comes in but like all I even had issues with the event. So I'm like, why isn't anybody invited? Like, I don't understand why we have to invite everybody, so I had to figure that out. So you're not the only one. had to figure that out, but, we can definitely set something up like
Yeah,
that.
because that was sort of the fear
It would
factor
be
too.
over the internet, so you have to figure that out too. Everything's going tight, so, but that's definitely something that we can address, because, yeah, we do only use Facebook.
So, excuse me, so just to address that, since we have made a group ride an event,
Yeah, it's
I think that's
easier.
great.
that's
It's
made it
easier,
very
yeah.
simple.
Yes.
Well, I still had to check with Mary Claude to see if my post was showing up.
Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, so let's move on. Is everybody okay with what we've discussed? We will.
I just want to add one little thing too. One of the points of reluctance for me to do any group riding was, number one, what Annabelle said first year. And the message was very clear at the very beginning that, you know, if you're first year, probably just sit back and maybe at the end of the season, if you're feeling comfortable, blah, blah, blah. But you know what, as far as my technical knowledge is, as far as mechanics of the bike, that's what stopped me, because if you're the leader, you bloody well better be able to
Yes.
change a tire, take the
And that actually, I was gonna make my
And I'm not.
all the group leaders get that bike maintenance clinic free. And it is clearly indicated, it has always been that way, and I think Jeannie sends out emails saying, get yourself registered for that clinic. So you have to get yourself registered, it's free.
But doing the clinic and
Then
being
actually,
properly.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's, I know, it's a start, it's a start. You gotta take the tire out.
I'm just saying that that's
Somebody in the
another
group
thing.
But somebody in the group will help, right?
Yeah, Reliance Power.
Okay, let's move on, because I'm sure finances will, so this is, something that we've, it's been an up and down thing for years. One year we had like over 200 members, so we had a lot of money. And then we set the budget based on that the next year, and then we only had like 9. So things have changed, and we can't really set like a set budget, because everything is based on memberships. So we do recognize that there are certain positions, volunteer positions that people have taken that take a lot of their time, and that do require compensation of some sort. So, and we appreciate like Sandy's volunteer coordinator, and Jeannie being the group ride leader. We've all like benefited immensely, and plus like even Jean doing helping out. There are positions in this club that are very, very important. And so that's why we're like, we can't put a number on them, because like if we have a low registration, well, then that number takes up too much of the cash, like too much of the income. One thing that, people say that our club is too expensive. Well, there are lots of clubs you can go and pay $50 and you're gonna get $50 worth of service.
Yeah.
Which is, and I'm sure if anybody comes from like those clubs, you know exactly what you're getting. Our price has always been the same, and if you want to deduct what you're getting from it, $65 goes to the jersey right away. So if you're paying $225 and you decide to volunteer and you volunteer, you get $50 back. That brings that to $175. Your jersey is $65, so bring that down, that's $110. Then that free group ride, learn a group ride, and that's open to everybody, new and advanced, that's $65 if you were to pay for it. So you're left with very little, which goes to coaches. Those coaches on Monday night aren't free, they are not volunteering. The coaches for the group ride leaders, they are not volunteering, they get paid to do that. And we have other minor expenses that come through the club. So if you break it down, that is exactly what you're getting. You're getting a lot of value. And plus those Monday nights, If you were to hire a coach, it's $65 an hour, just so you know. And that's my rate as a coach, if I were to take you out for an hour to give you coaching. So you're getting that for free, basically. Whether you take advantage of it or not, that's the price for a coach. And you're getting quality if you make it out there. And all the girls here who make it out and use those skills know exactly what I'm talking about. So I just want to put that out there so you can do the math. Okay, so this is a motion to go forward with regards to the finances and percentage going to volunteer coordinator based on overall enrollment right off the bat before expenses are taken off. Okay, so for volunteer and group ride leader, it's 1.5% of the overall. So we made, which is the next one, if you want to flip Ann to the finances. So that you may maybe not be able to see this, but it's going to be put up in our page. So we basically brought in, 26,000, 27,000 of membership. So 1.5 is a pretty good little deal for a group. Anybody want to be a group ride leader for next year? So anyways, that's but so this is kind of a breakdown, and then 20% to the president, being me, because this is an ongoing thing. It's not really that much, but I do a lot of this for you guys, and because I love doing it. And then you can just sort of see the breakdown. So jersey sales, we have some learn to ride clinics of people who actually pay, and they're not members, so very little. So it's all basically members that are coming through there. And then membership, and then we have the race. We didn't make money, but it's building. So if anybody was volunteering there, that race was really, really well received, and a lot of people are very excited for next year. We're looking to sort of build on it. So I only see that going up. Now, and then so race expenses, 10th anniversary, admin, bank, and coaching. FQSC is part of our club affiliation with Quebec, with the federal, the federation. And so we have to pay that every year to be insured as a club. As a non-profit club too. Sorry, I forgot, we're a non-profit, so that's like.
So is that basically where our insurance comes from? Is that?
Yes, so we have
membership?
insurance twofold. And so they require us to have insurance, but we do have insurance through them. And even for the race, we have to, we have to prove we have insurance. So that's the insurance here. So if anybody gets into an accident, you are fully insured. So that's why it's very important to have club events. Because if you group ride outside, then it's you're not insured. I mean, you can, of course, you ride all you want, but as for like group events, like under club umbrella, you are covered. And jerseys. Well, we had a little bit of a screw up this year, so that includes the screw up, which is about $2,000. So those are the ones that are on sale over there. And then marketing, fall social, right here, spring social, my allowance. And of course, we give back to volunteers. So as you see, and we've done some charity donations too. So that's what it is. Any questions? And it pretty much looks like that every year. Like, we'll put up 2017, but there wasn't as many members. I think we had 75 last year, 72, and so we increased it to 125. And so that's that. So then there's the motion to use a percentage for Who's gonna carry out the motion
Can
stuff?
I just ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm just interested in the thinking behind giving people money.
Cause I just
Because then they have to declare that as income. And-
it is always an option.
No,
To declare.
I wouldn't want anyway.
Well-
If you receive an honorarium or you receive fees for service, both, I mean, as the club, you are paying people, are you not?
We are suggesting that we start. We are
Right.
not.
So if you are paying people, I'm just wondering how that sets us up vis-a-vis Revenue Canada as an agency.
This is
Because
actually something that I'm going to be talking to an accountant with
Right.
next, in 2 weeks.
So the alternative for the amount of money you're talking about is to not charge those people a membership. And that
That's an
would
option
not
too.
be, that means they would not have to, my knowledge is limited. It would mean that they would not have to declare it, they wouldn't be in that kind of a bind, right? It would
Okay.
still fall under the same, thing that you're already doing, which is if you volunteer, you get
It's about the same
$50.
amount.
But if you want to, you could give, it could be free jersey, it could be whatever, I don't have the numbers to be able to say whether or not that is enough. But I think you were saying, what, it'd be 125 would be 10%?
Yeah, it's probably about 200.
About 200, well,
Yeah,
your
200 to
membership's
300.
220.
Yeah.
So if you take those bigger positions and say that that's counting as volunteer hours or their mega hours or however you wanna describe it, then you don't get into that issue of, I'm
That's a
bringing in
very good
income.
point. I am totally open to everything. The first thing that I just popped into my mind was a percentage, because last year we gave Jeannie, a gift certificate, or a swap or two.
I thought that was a gift, not.
Well, no, it is a
honorary.
gift, no, it's a gift, no, it's a gift. No, but it's a gift of appreciation.
But, I mean, some people may not worry, but at some point,
Yeah.
you don't wanna get an audit, you don't want someone to come in and say.
Well, I think that's a great
"Well,
idea, cause I didn't even think about that.
As a nonprofit though, if
Yeah.
it falls within the amount that could be considered an honoraria, it's not considered income. So,
what is that?
but you need to,
You know that,
talk
Manchester?
to your,
Yeah.
so not off the top of my head, some of it would
Yeah.
depend on the size of the organization. So you need to talk to the accountant about it, there'll be a threshold, right? So, I mean, we do this all the time, we have honoraria versus paid staff, because that way, some of the people that we're paying, it doesn't interfere with any of their other income pieces or taxes or whatever.
And if you change the motion to say that we need to explore a mechanism
For
through which to
compensation.
compensate people for those
Mega hours.
Yeah, like, it's
And
just.
then we maybe talk to an accountant and see, I mean, there may not be an issue, or there may be an issue.
Yeah, cause we're talking between Ontario and Quebec too.
There's always difference, so it
There's
depends
always
too, whether we're
differences.
incorporated, we incorporate federally or
Yeah.
provincially. and
So that's why I'm gonna talk to the accountant, but I certainly feel that, whether it's a gift or something that, it's something of
recognition of effort.
appreciation, yeah, for sure, because I realize that,
I would like to put a motion on the table that we explore paying an honorarium to the major volunteer positions.
well, yeah,
But that we
it's
explore
supposed to.
options, Linda.
That we show up with options of how to pay.
For compensating.
Yeah, so that's why I'm gonna go to the accountant.
So the motion here is we explore options on how to compensate the major volunteer positions.
Sure. So I have an appointment in 2 weeks.
So basically what we're gonna do now is somebody's gonna second that, and we're gonna.
I was like, to be official.
Second that?
So why don't you read the motion and then somebody else.
This is why I'm at.
It's like it's on your.
So Linda, I'm typing the minutes here. So
Okay,
I have
perfect, geez, I
that we
love you.
explore options for compensating members for the major volunteer positions in the club.
Should we say what are those major volunteer?
Yeah, and I'll put them, Michelle, do you wanna put them down?
So it's like a
Free membership.
But just a minute, I'll add the positions, so. Obviously, group ride leader coordinator, volunteer coordinator.
Yeah, so those are the two. Group ride leader.
And I would suggest that the group ride leader is putting in more hours than the, because I think we want to, that one would be even more.
Or is it group ride?
Yeah, but I mean, that's it, it's a percentage, right?
But if you don't go percentage, then how does that work out? I don't know.
But I thought as a group ride leader, we're getting a discount on our membership.
No, the group ride.
No,
it's
it's
not
not
for
for
the It's not for the leaders, it's for the
Gotcha.
coordinators.
That makes so
The
much more
coordinates,
sense.
yes.
Yes, or, yeah, the coordinator. So it's only the coordinator positions, like
That makes
the
more sense.
volunteer and the group ride leader, coordinator.
But, I do wanna say that, from my point of view, from what I see from the survey and everybody that I've talked to, the core business of the club, the core activity is group rides.
Yeah.
And so, aside from all the work that Sylvie does with the membership and the jerseys and that, her job as the president of the club, the other next big job is a group ride lead coordinator. That's the core business, that's what keeps people coming back, so we need to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we need to think about who wants to take over the position. Jeannie's stepping down, but she's fully prepared to hand over everything that she's been doing, and so you can pick up where she left off.
That's impossible. She was amazing. She's worked twice that.
I know,
Twice that.
I hear you.
So did we second the motion or not?
Yes.
So Linda proposed it and
Roberta.
Sylvie, I would suggest you explore a couple of options. So can we give this person, say, a dollar amount, if that gets into weird tax stuff? I think if my exposure, at least to Jeannie, is that she's done an extraordinary amount of work this summer. So like, could we say do a dollar amount and maybe a gift that's not gonna screw with your taxes? That's definitely someone that's done a lot of work this summer, so let's do a few things.
Well, yeah.
From the accounting.
Yeah.
Different combinations and permutations.
Yeah.
And also, I've done some volunteer work in another capacity that have gotten this honorary initiative, and they asked me what I wanted. So maybe the person could say like, you know what, all I want is my membership this year, or you could say, I want my membership this year and €100 worth or something. So talk to the person to see like what is good for their life.
Well, how that conversation should be made.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just options that I can present within
If
it.
$300 for the work spot, I'm good for the year. Like, talk to the accountant about what the options are.
Okay, so options within the club.
Yeah.
Money, your membership.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna put in a vote where I completely understand where you're coming from, but I am going to put in the idea that really the executive's responsibility is going to be to set that. It's not going to be the responsibility of the person in the volunteer position to say, this is what I would want. I think the club needs to have it laid out in detail. This is what the compensation options for volunteering are. We hold that. Otherwise, it gets too messy with individual people and their, right?
Yeah.
So before Jeannie's stepping down, so before someone steps into that position, they need to know how it works, and that needs to be a decision of the executive and clearly communicated to everybody in the club as well. Otherwise, it gets
We can put a
messy.
policy in place. We can put that in place so they have the option. So that being said, just keep, think about, if you want to become a group ride coordinator, everything's set up. You don't have to be Jeannie because we all appreciate different styles. So she brought a very organized, coordinated one, and somebody else might bring something else to the table that might be just as exceptional. So just think that you do not have to be like that person, okay? Everybody has their own talents. I just want to really impress upon you that we're very open, and Jeannie said that she'd hand down the stuff everything's on Google Docs, I believe. You know, if you have all the emails, you can duplicate those. So just know that you can put your hand up and you can let me, because we are going to need one. Okay, so you want this to continue? We need one.
With the rules all changing now, maybe we should ask Jeannie if she wants to remain on this.
4 more years.
4 more years.
4 more years.
Are you sure?
In most
About
there, in a lot of the not-for-profit organizations that I've looked at with cycling clubs, they actually set a term, 2 years for president and treasurer and secretary, and 1 year on other positions. I think it's a really healthy thing to do. I think it really gets different ideas in. It's a healthy rotation because the workload is, you know, substantial, significant. So, you know, it's good to look at what other people are doing. I think it would be a great benefit to this club to maybe have a conversation with another not-for-profit unincorporated cycling clubs like KMBC to find out how they're running things. Because, you know, with a larger membership and they're not-for-profit unincorporated, but they do post minutes, they do post financials, they have set positions. They have set positions
like treasurer, secretary.
So I really think in terms of a governance structure, that this club has reached a point in its maturity that it actually really needs to look at that seriously. It's a lot of work, but I think it ensures a sense of continuity, and people are aware of what the expectations are, and what the limitations are, and what the requirements are, that kind of thing. But, you know, that's just my thoughts.
Is there a way, given that we know Jeannie has put in so much work, is there a way that we could recognize Jeannie in some way?
This year.
This year, for
We
her work
have-
that,
we are
I know that
recognizing
we've given her a gift, which is great, but if we're looking at a compensation of a free membership, is there a way that could be given to Jeannie for next year, just to say?
To be honest, like, that's not really my motivation.
No,
and,
no.
And, you know, I think there has to be a separation between, is this a business or is this a not-for-profit? You can't have both. You have to choose. If it's a business, you have lots of freedom in determining what you want to do and how you want to run it. If it's a not-for-profit, whether it's incorporated or unincorporated, which is more of an association, you have less leeway, and you have to, I don't think you can do a hybrid. I don't think that works. And I think you need to make a choice. It needs to be clear. The other cycling clubs that I've been looking at their websites to see how they're communicating these things, they clearly say on their homepages, they're not-for-profits, and their executives do not get any compensation. So you look at an OBC, and they've got like over 1,100 members, and none of their executives get compensation. It's volunteer. They do have an office administrator, and that is a paid position. They also, they have a director for the Real Race Cycling tour event, because that attracts a huge number of cyclists from all over North America. It's not just club members, it's beyond that. So they pay somebody to manage that event because that's just huge. But aside from that, it's all volunteer driven. So
I should actually look at the Quebec stuff.
But I think it's worthwhile, you know, having a conversation with another not-for-profit. If we are in fact a not-for-profit, which I'm not, it's not always clear to me that we are, but I'm not sure, because it's never really stated anywhere, so I'm just putting it.
If we are a not-for-profit, then your executive cannot receive compensation, so then you have paid positions. You'd be in violation of that, even if you're not incorporated, right? If you're a business, then all things are possible, right?
Absolutely.
But there's some value in thinking about it as a not-for-profit, having some positions that are paid, because the other thing with the terms, usually on an executive, people cycle out, to your point, Jeannie, people cycle out, usually, 3 years is the maximum. Sometimes they extend it to 5 because, they really like you or whatever. But for all of those reasons. So if you have a paid position on the executive, it gets icky about, so who's supervising them, who's in charge, because ultimately,
how do you determine if they have delivered?
Exactly. Whereas, you know, if you have a director, and that director is a title, and it could be 5 hours, it can be 20 hours, it's a level of compensation, whatever that is, but then that's a paid position that the unpaid executive manages, right?
Yes.
So that's usually the standard of nonprofits, and that will be across Canada. So, you know, each province has their own little special nigglies because, you know, we all like to be special snowflakes, but ultimately that will be the structure, right? And it does, but you do have to decide, and it cleans it up, and it makes it really clear. If we're a nonprofit, then we have some paid positions that are hired, and then overseen by a volunteer executive, right? And it's just clean, neat, easy, right? And then it clears up some of our tax concerns as well, and we're in the honorary.
Well, we currently have a volunteer executive, right?
Yeah.
But the president has a percentage of the income. So that's where you get
Is the
salary.
president on the executive? There's a salary.
Right. Yeah. So that's where you get sticky, right?
So actually, I'm going to talk to you about Resort, because they're
I
Quebec.
know a lot,
Yeah.
but I'm sure Taylor can help you, or
Yeah.
I can just contact somebody.
Yeah, so I'm going to look at Quebec clubs.
And your accountant
because,
also.
yeah, because what Ontario does, what Quebec does is different, because they require us to be a
Nonprofit.
nonprofit. We have to have a number and everything in order to be part of the FQSC and have their.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, they made us do that like about 9 years ago, or maybe even later, earlier, in order to get be part of the Quebec Federation as a club. So I'll talk to the local UA
Do they
clubs
have
and see
a,
how they do it.
if they require this club to be a not-for-profit, do they have a set of guidelines or, you know, requirements of what the not-for-profit should look like?
Yeah,
Probably they don't have.
I'd have to search it. It's all French, so they're not. It's not an easy fit, but I'm going to talk to other.
Looks like you have an
clubs.
expert here too, so.
Well, not in the Quebec side, though,
Not-
but
no,
I know.
But it's
yeah,
a
but
federal
yeah.
idea. So basically our motion still stands.
Yeah,
So we'll
absolutely.
explore it. So the
I guess
motion,
I'll do some research and I'll find out what we can do about that, or
Perfect.
what other clubs do and how they deal with those heavy
there was
volunteer
an
jobs.
executive saying, do we have to accept these financials? Or is that important?
Well, as members, we and the executive, we all have a responsibility for that. So unless we see there's anything wrong with our financials, I mean, we can accept them. For this is the past year, right? So you know, but
It's
with
not
the
100%
caveats to do some
because
research in the future.
There's a couple of adjustments, but that's pretty much it.
Sylvie, I just wanted to, if we're finished that discussion, I
Yeah.
just wanted to speak to the time trial and how the financing of that works.
Well,
Through the Fédération.
so, through the Federation? Huh.
Because we put on this, we
Yeah.
have, our club has put on this time trial, but I'm trying to understand what the cost is to the club, what the revenue is to the club, what comes from the Fédération our way, like, is it a net zero event, or does it cost us money?
It costs us money from the standpoint that we have to pay, it depends how big it grows, because then the bigger it grows, there's added expenses that are incurred from the Federation. So they require you, because we're underneath their umbrella, it's not just us, we have to pay extra. So the club put out only $5,000 to that event, and basically it was prize money to draw in racers, which it did, because last year we had 23 members, this year we had 107. So it grew substantially, as you can imagine. I can provide the breakdown, like we have to pay for toilets, let's just say, that's one of them. And we had to pay for race bibs. Here's the porta potties.
I said paper toilets, like.
Oh, sorry. I had to pay for the porta potties.
Okay, I got it.
And all the toiletries that went in there, yeah.
About extra event insurance, like, was there extra event insurance that had to be taken out for that particular?
There was, we had to provide the fact that we had insurance, and then we had to pay a little bit extra because we're having an event.
Yeah.
So we pay for because we're a club, and then we pay because we're an organizer. And now I was like, oh, I see where they're making some of their money. And then we pay $1 a participant that goes towards their bursary fund. And we basically get all profits minus all that. So $22 it costs for one person times 107 minus all those costs. So we did not make money. It was kind of even. I'd have to provide, like I didn't put the numbers out there, but I have the budget at home. So based on what we need. And if we have more event, then they will require us to have like a timing and a photo finish, and that is stated in their contract as an event organizer.
So do you think it's worth it?
I totally do, because the region and the sport needs more events, and people loved it. And we're going to talk to Zara about adding a Paralympic category, which will make it longer, and also that will bring in national athletes. We can also add a team time trial, which we have some ladies in here who could time trial together, I'm sure, in a team of 4. So some of those things that we just sort of advance and grow on what we've already established. And another thing is the region of Wakefield and Chelsea really want tourists in the area. So if we can slowly grow it to be like extra events, then they would absolutely love and have no problem having an event there. And that's what makes it really easy. Because I've tried to put events on, and like you have to go through so many hoops, and I'm just like, forget it. It's too much. So they're very on board. And so now that we kind of have a formula.
Do you need any special permits?
No, that's what's really nice. If you work with them, I spend all winter filling out forms and contacting the right people, making sure they know what's going on, stuff like that, just for that event. So 2 months ahead of time, everybody's known. I filled out all the forms. Chelsea's approved, Wakefield's approved, everybody's a go. The police know, the police need to know, the road guys, they're all separate.
Well, I'm asking because just to close one section of the pack that I get to know for the
I know.
trial, we need NCC's permission.
Yeah.
We pay
That's why I mean, like NCC, you don't even. That's why, and having it on that road is pristine and it's quiet, apart from the Turgranville. We'll not even talk about that. we talked about it afterwards, but you were gone. So yeah, we had so much positive feedback from all the racers. It was just mind blowing how many people appreciated who volunteered here for it. Yeah, they loved you. Just to let you know, they loved everything that you guys did. They loved your support. They loved the fact that it was so organized and coordinated, and they just had never had. It was a very, very good experience.
People that came from outside, from Montreal, they all gave really positive feedback.
Yeah. So it was just, it was just more motivating to continue slowly growing that event. And I say slowly because you don't want to go. You just want to add little bits every year. So Jean?
Well, my thought is if we're gonna grow it, then clearly some of our membership fees are going towards that.
Yes.
So I think that needs to be right up front.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For everybody at the April social one.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And online, I would say.
And online.
And with the financials online,
Yeah.
it should be very clear.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe what I'll do is I'll change some of this. I'll have John change it.
Well, it might be given, but
But it might not, so you're gonna extend it.
Sylvie, my question is, I understand that you're in the camp of the participants, the racers, makes perfect sense, but is our club big enough to be able to handle without losing money or without making money?
And we have enough volunteers.
Well, that's the other thing.
Well, this is it, we have 60 to, what did I say, 57 we have 57 volunteers, we only had 20 volunteer.
But would it make sense to couple with another
I mean, yes, that's why I was gonna talk to the If we expand it, we definitely need more assistance.
Yeah.
And that's why I was thinking like maybe taking some of the people who decided to be part of the executive, like just having them deal with that.
Yeah.
Too. That's another option, but definitely having another club, and they would like run one section and we would run another.
Right.
So then, you know, we could support each other, because they have volunteers, we have volunteers, and if you volunteer for that, like that's your volunteer hours.
Yeah.
I mentioned, I'm not sure if I mentioned it to you, Sylvie, when we were in PEI and did the Grand Condo there, they actually had road crew working at any major intersection or circles or whatever, and they were all there just because they wanted to be there and help. And it was awesome, walkie-talkies, the stop sign, the flags and everything.
Yeah, we have lots
that
of
was
feedback.
the idea,
Detour signs and more signage, different timing, maybe
But
earlier,
get us
so.
off of that circle.
Yeah,
Like,
that circle, this is not a conversation for that
okay,
circle.
yeah. We're all like, but just a new idea, different
But
idea.
yes, we have lots of additional stuff we need to bring out for that, and probably just even bring it earlier. So let's just move on, because it's like 2 minutes to 5. So charity. So we had, this is just something that I was thinking our club could go into this direction of supporting a local charity. And we had a couple ideas, and also not only that, but we need volunteer hours to go somewhere. So if we have 57 people times 10, we need 570 hours to put out there, and I don't think that we had enough. I have to talk to Sandra, but still, if we grow, there's going to be more hours that we have to find. So, and also we'll have a little bit more money to maybe give to a charity in our area that could benefit. And quite possibly this is probably not time for an extended conversation, but I just want to, I put it out there and I got some feedback of different charities that people were kind of passionate about. But if you're passionate about a charity and we can pick it up, you have to be in the club to facilitate that. That's one of the requirements, right? That you have to be part of helping us. So we had dressed. Oh, sorry, it's not in there. It's in my notes. So we had, so Julie was dressed for success.
Thank you for bringing everything. This does not represent what you guys brought. I have a car full of items, so thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so afterwards bring it and I'll take it to her.
Okay, so then there's Safari Simbas.
Okay, I can speak to that. So every couple of years I travel to Kenya to work with the foundation, but at the same time we support a cycling club called Safari Simbas, and we take over equipment, tires, and we get a lot of donations for that, and a lot of clothing, and but we can always use more female clothing. So next spring, and we're asking if you have any of your old cycling clothing that you don't want to necessarily send to a charity shop, maybe we can bring it to a social and I'll take that over in the duffel bags for us. Safari Simbas is a cycling club started by a fellow named who's Kenya's top cyclist, and he was fortunate enough because he's a has dual citizenship to get to leave Kenya to cycle for the UK. But otherwise, the Kenyan riders don't have as many opportunities because the government doesn't sponsor cycling the way it does other sports, I've read. So anyway, it's just one way of giving back, is to take some stuff over to Safari's
So
So save your clothing.
yeah, for the spring social, that's something we can definitely post, and everybody can clear out their jerseys and or old jerseys and bring them. So then the next one was Uville Center, which was from Tammy Hodges, and I don't think she's in here. So I'm not really sure about that. And then there was Pathway to Independence, which is TUI. So we remember we gave a donation for a cat tray. I posted that on, and the exec approved it. So TUI has been with our club in 2012. So that's why I was compelled to help her out, because she was such a great influence, and participated with a lot of our club events. And we had time trials, our own time trials at the time, and she even participated in a 50K time trial on a 3-wheeler. So anyway, so she had a suggestion for Pathway to Independence, and it has a lot to do with head trauma. I want to say victims, but like brain injury. So it can be for anybody, but along with that comes a lot of what we were thinking is like maybe giving back and bringing people out on bicycles. So kind of going volunteering. Maybe we can get some extra bikes from our this is just a thought, but helping people get independent like her, because she got a 3-wheeler, so becoming more capable of getting around. So I don't know if you want to talk just a teensy bit, like a couple.
Yeah, well, for me or the pathways?
Yeah, the pathways.
Okay, so I know pathways because it's through circles. So around easy is basically it's for brain injury, but it's got it's through the hospital, and then after what happens is there's other services that is a non-profit, but it's really what is it called, a waiting list, because I think
I was just thinking that with our cycling, that was just one, example that we could use. And it could provide a volunteer basis, and if we could find a way to get bikes and, but that's a big vision. And there's others there too, so that's kind of, maybe that's where the club is going. It's not for certain, it's just an idea. But I think as women, it's great to give back in some sort of area. There's so many local things that we can do to help families, moms, anyways, it's an open discussion for later, but that's just kind of maybe another year step. So anyways, does that anybody have kind of like a feeling about that?
I have a couple of thoughts, but I think it's great how we support other charities, and a lot of the people in the club already do so, right? They ride for Grannies, or they ride for MS, and some of us sponsor them, and so I really like the idea of supporting charities. I'm a huge supporter myself, but I do like the more voluntary aspect of that. Like, I think put it out there, put even a part. I'm not a Facebook person either. I don't know if you can have a section or on the website that's about the different feature certain either volunteer opportunities or financial participation, and have people choose to do that. But I like giving the members of this club sort of the choice to participate in the way that they want.
That might be
there are lots of great things.
That might be a great avenue for next year for volunteer opportunities. Because like I said, I don't think we have enough hours, and we need to find other places where we can really help.
Yeah, I just have a question, because you talk about this requirement for volunteer hours. Where does that come from?
It's not a requirement. It's there's a box to check on the membership form if you are willing to volunteer. And what happened is more people volunteered this year than we actually received to have volunteer hours. And for example, the time trial is a good one. We needed tons of volunteers, but the time trial is one day, and it happens to be when your family's on vacation, or you're out of town, or you're at the cottage on the weekend. It's only one opportunity. So I think what Sylvie's talking about is maybe giving credit for things outside of the club.
Okay. Yeah, or like
$50 discount. That's all.
Yeah.
So people don't feel like they're obligated.
Yeah, because we used to. Well, there's lots of places to volunteer, like, for the socials, for instance, we need at least 10, and then the bike maintenance clinic, we need a couple people there for each one of them. Social media posting, we need volunteers there, and we have a couple of great ones. It's awesome, keeping our business page very busy. So there's different things, and like the website's going to be one too.
Why don't you consider having like a section on the website with like descriptions of the specific volunteer
I think there's a
tasks?
link to it, and it's under volunteer spot. We might and as soon as you read at the social, we usually have papers where you can write down where you want to volunteer, and then as soon as you indicate you want to be a volunteer, you get the email. Here's the list of volunteer options. And if you don't, and a lot of people don't, we still have people who have not even responded, and they've set up volunteering, so it's hard.
May I make a suggestion, and I'm just throwing this out, but maybe what we need to do is have a list of sanctioned organizations that the club, that people in the club are involved in or want to be involved in, and volunteer options can come up in those sanctions.
Well, that will be for next year
Well,
for sure.
the part about sanction though, it's really hard. Like, have any of you tried to get your family together to contribute to a thing at Christmas instead of buying presents? And that's like 6 people. It's really hard to come up with a list. So I would say throw a bunch up and let people choose, right?
But if you for next year.
If there is one thing that's sanctioned by the club, what we're talking about too is that there might be an opportunity to ask the executive if they would contribute to this sanctioned volunteer time or everything. So as much as people are doing it themselves, the club might also donate some money to it. I mean, those are options as well.
Yeah, but that's not until after registration's closed, and then we see how much money people are in. It's really, really based on membership, because it's like this every year. You know, one year we had 230, the next year we had 75, 145, 50. So it really is like a yearly. It's like how people feel, the sun, I don't know, where the moon's setting. But so it's really, it really depends. Like after our registration closes, it's probably gonna be May 1st. We're just gonna run, and then that's when the number is there, and that's what we're working with.
Okay.
So
that's good.
yeah, and we will start this fall with sending out early bird registrations. So just be on the lookout for that, so you can get a rebate. We always do that for existing club members, and then it goes up to regular. So that's why if you register early, if you get your registration in before, I think it is like either February 1st or the 28th, then you'll get your jersey at the social. It's not like this year. But it was there. There was a jersey, but it wasn't the one that we had. So anyways, that's the way it works. So if you get your membership, once you see it, you get registered, your jersey will be ready at the social in April. So everybody.
So are you suggesting that some of the financial monies would then be put towards a charity, like the monies that people have put from their membership fees?
Just because
You know,
depends.
like
Like
if I turned around tomorrow and made a donation to a charity, I get a tax receipt.
Yeah.
If I make a donation through a membership, I'm not gonna get that. Now, it's not all about that, I get that. But, have you thought about other ways maybe to support these events, or to maybe put the money back into the membership, for those maybe who are already members this year? Maybe they get that additional rebate for next year. I don't know.
but you know what a rebate is like? If I give you $25 and you volunteer and get that money back, it's like a $75 rebate. So if you know, like, I can't give any more rebates.
Yeah, it's not about the financial help to charity, but volunteering hours we're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, it says both.
Yeah, and the thing is that we can't have like a big balance in our books as a nonprofit, so we have to put the money somewhere.
Right.
I mean, I can do it, but that's not the point. You know, like there are places that need it. You know?
Yeah, but if we're making too much money with the registration fees, maybe, and we've had feedback that some people feel that registration fees might be a barrier to participating in the club. Maybe
Well, then we can
have
do
to talk
other
about
things,
that.
like we can do weekend, you know, we could pay for different things in the club. Like, say we do a weekend tour, well, instead of costing 200, it's gonna cost 100.
Where at
So,
least the club members are benefiting from it.
well, yeah, I mean, but if we had that kind of money, that's what we could choose to do that. So the executive, we have to, that will be the executive decision.
Well, I guess it's just up there, it says,
Yeah.
we may give money to a charity.
Well, this is just an agenda. I mean, if we choose to do different things, if that's it, like we got, you know, $1,000, we can allocate to trips or free accommodations or gas money, I don't know. It's all out there.
One idea that came up, we were just talking casually, is we do have members who have old, hybrid, heavier bikes, and for some of them, it's a barrier to them either progressing or like moving to the novice level or whatever, but not everybody is ready to make an investment in a bike. So some kind of program that would allow members who just aren't ready to spend that kind of money on a road bike to give them a chance to test a bike, say, have a bike, like a bike sharing program or through another sort of rental company, so like subsidizing that for them, so that they could test a road bike for 2 months. Because some people are just like, I just don't want to ride with drops. Like, it's just not for me. But have they tried it? Maybe if they actually try it, it's not actually as bad as they imagine. And if they get a sense of, you know, what a lighter bike will allow them to do, that might keep them engaged in the club.
Just to talk to that, and let's close it up.
Yeah.
But there is Rent a Bike in town, and that's something that we can easily become a partnership with and get rebates for people who want to, like, because it's a rental program, right? You can go in, rent any kind of bike you want, so you go, and that's something we can easily do. We can easily set up something there, so.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so that's in downtown, and that's easy, and they have such a variety of different kind of bikes that, Right, that's it. Good job. Food, all right, yes. Even though we started late, that's about it. So, thank you. I think, are you putting on the video? I think it's on our, you can get it off our Facebook page.
Yeah,
Wait a minute, no, but just go to my laptop. So.
Thank you everybody for joining us for our Cycle for Chicks 2018 AGM. See you later.